This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager. If you are not following me, you are missing out because we have so many amazing conversations, not only on Facebook, but we are also on TikTok and Instagram, okay? And me and the Bettys and the Bennies, we have us a good old time. All right, we have us a good party. Now, you can follow me at The Millennial Manager on all of those platforms, and I just started a YouTube, so if you want to search me there, you can. There isn't that much content up there, but I am going to start facilitating my lives there. So make sure that you are following so that you do not miss out. All right. Now, we had a very interesting week because on social media, I posed the question, and let me pull it up so that I don't mess that up. What key improvement could your employer make to improve your work environment? Now, y'all would think everything would be about money. At least that's what the employers would like to think, but that is definitely not the case. Majority of the comments all allude to the lack of support from management, the lack of pay. Like we said, there are some people talking about pay, but majority of them feel like they're not being listened to. They feel like no one is hearing the request that's being made by the employees. They feel like they have significant understaffing, like so many concerns. There's no appreciation, no communication, none of the Asians. Okay? And this is where I want those of you who are in management, you have to realize that there are some things that we can do. Huh? How many of you in management know that you can make a change, but decline to do so because it is probably going to be too much work? You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. But I implore you today to hear what these people are saying. Every single person almost on this thread, and then there's the one on TikTok, then there's the one on Instagram, they're all screaming the same thing. The main problem is unintelligent managers who are not able to lead correctly. Now, some of y'all can lead people off a cliff. We know that. We know you can lead, but are you leading correctly? Okay, now that is just a prelude of what is about to come in this next series. We're about to have a management series next week. That is what every video is going to focus on. That is what all of the podcasts are going to focus on. And we are going to help improve this problem. Are we going to fix it 100%? No, we're not. No, we're not. We know that. But sitting back and knowing that I can help somebody do better and I just don't makes me just as bad as somebody who never did anything at all. Okay? Now, I wanted to highlight some of the things that they talked about because it actually goes into this episode of our podcast today. Now, today we're going to be focusing on red flags in the workplace. and on interviews. And then we're going to talk about the green flags in the workplace and on interviews. Now, if you are in the interview phase and you want to know some ways that you can identify if someone or somewhere is not a ideal place to work with or a ideal place to work, we are going to be talking about that. Now, in your interview, if the interviewer, lacks clarity, they're not being 100% upfront about the role, about the responsibilities, about the expectations, it might be a lack of organization or transparency within the company. That means they about to play in your face. And if they give you all the information, they know you're not going to take the job. They know that. So that's why they're only going to give you just a little bit. They're going to give you just a little tiny hint of information. And then you really find out the shit show that you're about to walk into on your first day. When you get there and you talk to Brenda, and Brenda is going to be like, girl, why the hell did you take this job? Because you didn't pay attention that inside of that interview, they weren't being descriptive of the role. They were being very vague and withholding a lot of information. The second thing is high turnover rates. You can ask that in the interview. Did you know that? You can ask. Ask them. Have you all experienced a high turnover rate within the company? Have you experienced a high turnover rate with this role? You need to ask it so that you can avoid the hostile working environments that the people in these comments are talking about. Okay? Now, I know I can't fix the employers, but we can help the employees. And that's what we're trying to do. Number 3. Negative comments about previous employees. If you hear somebody in that interview, or even, because this can cross over, or even if you are on the job and you hear somebody say something negative about an employee, they are definitely talking about you. Do not think that you are exempt. If the interviewer is speaking negatively about former employees, former colleagues, it might be an indicator that there is a negative work culture, and then also that there is poor management at play, and you're about to walk in it. So you need to pay attention. When you ask about that high turnover rate, what do they say about the previous person that was in that role? Be mindful, be careful, all right? The last step, not the last step, unprofessional behavior, okay? They're in there rude, unprofessional, they're talking, over talking, speaking over you. They relate to the interview, they're distracted, they're being disrespectful. Come on now. That's a red flag that's slapping you in the damn face. Don't let them people do that. No matter how bad you need that job, you had better watch it because your mental health is about to be on the line. Okay? Number 5, overemphasis. I told y'all this last week. Overemphasis on family culture. We're like a family. You better run because they finna drag your ass. Don't you do it. Okay? Don't you do that. Don't put yourself in that position. Those people are not your family. Okay? They're not. They are your coworkers. And if you keep looking at them like family, they going to see you like family and they going to treat you like how family treat each other. We do each other dirty and all that, but we cousins at the internet. Nah, baby, nah. No. Okay? Now, inconsistent information. This is another one that goes along with the very first. They're not being clear. They're not being consistent about the role and responsibility that you are going to have. They don't have any growth opportunities outside of the one that you're applying for. Okay? There is a very low ceiling. There's not enough space for you to stretch. There's not enough space for you to grow. Now, poor work-life balance, that's what you're going to find out when you get up in there. You can ask that on these interviews, but they're probably going to lie to you. They're going to lie. You say, well, do you have a good work-life balance? Yeah. Yeah. No, they don't. They're actually lying, and it's sketchy as hell. They're not being honest. They're not being truthful. Now, micromanagement, this is another one that you will not really see inside of an interview unless it is more than one person in the interview. Because if you have a micromanager in the interview, they want to take control. Now, they can't necessarily take control of you because it's a Q&A type of situation. They ask a question, you answer, you ask a question, they answer. But if there's another person that works for the company in there and they don't let them get a word in, they look irritated when they open their mouth, they look aggravated when they speak, you better run. Okay? Because they finna do you the same way, if not worse. The same way, if not worse. Now, the last step, it says unclear vision, meaning that the company itself does not really have a guide. They don't have a mission. They don't have a vision. There is no clear understanding of where this company is going. They don't have a cohesive culture. They don't. They don't have anything that brings them together, but you see everything that brings them apart. Okay? Now, don't be crazy. Don't get sucked in. Don't get too excited. Start taking mental notes of the interviewer and make sure that you are paying close attention of the cues and the responses and the things that we talked about today. Now we are going to go to the green flags, my favorite. All right. Now on to positivity. My favorite place. Now, if you have a company that has a positive company culture, the interviewer is going to speak very highly of the company and all of the employees. They're not going to be speaking negatively about the company. They're not going to be adding things to make it seem like it's a better place because they're really lying. They are going to be speaking from the heart. They're going to say, we really love it here. We work really well as a team. We work together cohesively. They're going to use terminology that lets you know that we are about our business and we work hard together as a team, but they're going to stay away from words like family because they know that that is toxic and it's not something that is or that fosters a healthy work environment. The second thing is they're engaged to what you are saying. They're listening to what you are saying. They're not interrupting. They're not interrupting the other interviewer. If you're someone that has a 2-board or 2-person interview, they're listening and they are engaged and have follow-up questions. They're writing things down while the other person is talking and not interrupting. Okay? That is something that you need to look for when you are interviewing, because that lets you know that this person is engaged and they're actually listening to understand instead of listening to respond. Number 3, they have clear communication. All right. They are very upfront about the expectations, about the company goals, about the transparency. They have good communication throughout the company, and you'll start to see that once you start the job. You'll start to see it. Now, those first couple, like in our red flag, that let us know that this is not an ideal place to work, to avoid it. You don't even have to wait till you get on a job to really know that. You can kind of see what the environment is and get the vibe while you're in that interview. Number 4, they really focus on a work-life balance. This is very important when you are someone that is either wanting to work remote or you're wanting to have a little more flexibility in your life or in your job. They are promoting that. They're not promoting that you all work long hours. They're not asking that you all stay at work until 9 o'clock. They have a work-life balance for the team as well as themselves. And that lets you know that they value your life outside of work. They care about that. They care about you being healthy mentally, physically, in all the ways. They care about that. Number 5. Opportunities for growth. There is no low ceiling here. Okay, there is room for you to spread your wings. There are opportunities where new roles can be created, because we know that as companies grow, sometimes the roles that didn't exist before can be created because it has to meet the need of the company at that present moment. And so if you're able to do that, or if a manager is able to do that and they really have that space and they really want to do it, they will. They won't give you no BS about why you missed out on the promotion, why they're not going to play that game with you. And so we talked about it in another episode where people were kind of struggling with a lack of promotion. And I was telling you guys that you cannot make a company want you. If they do not want to hire you and or to make you a manager or in a lead position and everyone else is getting promoted, you're not going to make it happen. You standing there is just wasting your time, and you might as well take that situation for what it really is and go where you are valued and go where you are supported. Number 5. Oh, I already did number 5. Number 6, positive feedback about former employees. Now, when they discuss other people that used to work there, if it is always a negative tone or they start with negativity all the time, they are definitely doing the same thing to you, just like I said, and you want to be careful. Okay. Now, this person is positive about their employees. If people leave or they maybe wanted to stay home with their families, depending on what type of role it is, they never speak negatively about that person. They hardly speak about them at all. But when you have a negative leader or even negative coworkers, they always bring up, oh, you remember Brittany? You remember Ashley? Like, girl, why are you talking about these people and they don't work here anymore? Move on. Number 7, they have a agenda of inclusivity and a diverse environment. Okay? That is very important. Multicultural and having a diverse environment brings down the workplace stress. Because when you are the only one of you, it makes it very hard. I've been in those scenarios. I've seen it firsthand, the bullying that can happen, even with grown people. We act worse than children sometimes in the workplace because we're immature. Okay, so having people that are diverse, having people that, are different, and the company really embraces that. They have the welcoming highlights. Okay, the company is really in support of differences, and they want to make sure that everyone is respectful in the workplace. That is a ideal place to work. Number 8, they have a supportive leader. Okay, whether it's the CEO or maybe it's middle management, they have someone that supports you. They are approachable. They're not on the defense. They're not on the attack. You bring something to their attention. They rectify the situation. They don't just be like, oh, well, Brittany just told me something, so I'm just going to sit and wait until it's a real emergency. Like, no, be proactive. Take care of the problem now, because when your employees bring it to you, that means it's a problem for them. Number 9 focuses on employee recognition. And this, of course, is once you're already in the environment and they start celebrating employees for the things that they're doing, the way that they are excelling, they are celebrating the team. And not just like the private rewards, they're doing it publicly. They're letting everyone know, like, this person is doing an amazing job. And you want that because that means that they're okay with celebrating. They're okay with making sure that everyone knows that, okay, we value these team members. We value you. We want you to know that we appreciate the staff. Okay. Number 10 is a positive interview experience. Of course, this is while you are in your interview, you feel like the conversation and the interviewers made an effort to put you at ease and didn't have you in there sweating and nervous and uncomfortable and feeling like you're being grilled. Like, that is not a interview experience that I would want to have. And even when I interview, I always try to make people comfortable So they feel like, you know what, I can talk to Miss Brandy. I can talk to her. I can relate to her. I can, share my concerns once they start working with me. They can share like, okay, I'm really concerned about this, or I feel like we need this, Miss Brandy. Is that something we can order, or is this something that we can do? Maybe if we can include this protocol. It starts from the interview. So the vibe that you get from that person, if you can't really put a finger on it, you better run. Because if you don't know whether somebody is nice or whether somebody is kind, that means that they are not. It should be an immediate feeling, and that's where discernment has to come from, y'all. All right, y'all. So now we are going to be reading our first email for the Ask Brandy segment. Now, this email is coming from Benny, okay? And I love that he has introduced that because I didn't even think about it. So now we got the Bettys and now we got the Bennies. All right, here we go. First things first, I am Betty's brother, Benny. But you can call me as you see fit. Just wanted to clear that up before I dive in. So here's my situation. I've been with this company for a little over 3 years, and our team consists of 4 people. Since I've been here the longest, I naturally know more than the others, and I've been beyond frustrated with my manager. We all have the same position under her leadership, but it doesn't feel like that's the case. Over a year ago, she hired someone new and only taught her the basics, nothing more. Now, wherever or whenever we're working, the rest of us are swamped while the new girl doesn't do anything. And my manager, she doesn't give her anything extra to do, doesn't teach her or any of us new skills to distribute the workload. On top of that, my manager is rude, impatient, and has anger issues. Ooh, child. She's also nosy as hell and makes a lot of assumptions about what's going on, always thinking she knows the best. Her communication skills are terrible and she doesn't lead us at all. Instead, she micromanages everything and prefers to handle most of the work herself. She checks everything we do. When something's done incorrectly, she just fixes it herself and doesn't say a word about it. I can't help but feel like she's insecure about her job and maybe even threatened. It seems like she wants us to fail by not addressing our mistakes or teaching us anything new. None of us have learned anything in over a year. My Lord. We have so many micromanagers in the workforce that it seems like they're coming from a factory. Like somebody has a formula for micromanagers and they're just giving them the correct dosage and making them and then shipping them all around the world. They're everywhere. And the behavior is the same. They are overconsumed with work because they don't want to delegate any tasks. They don't trust the team that they have. And then and then she's probably resenting the team that she has because she doesn't want to teach you all. She just wants to fix everything and kind of get it out the way because it'll be done right if she does it herself is probably her thought process. But when you are in leadership, that cannot be the way you think because your team is the one that has to execute these tasks, these duties, these roles, the responsibilities. They are the ones that have to do it. You cannot operate for 5 people and you are just one. Let them carry their own way is my message to her, or for any manager who is listening that does what this lady is doing. Okay? Now let's move to you. Benny, I'm telling you right now, number one, you need to start documenting. I don't know if you have started documenting when your manager, when her behavior is being problematic, or maybe when there has been a issue in the workplace and you kind of can describe her rude demeanor, the fact that she's being impatient. Start documenting those things. Also start documenting what is happening at work while the workload is not being distributed equally. Those are the things that you need to focus on in your documentation. Okay. Now, the reason why you need to do this is because when it's time for you oh my God, when it's time for you to escalate the issue, you have some documentation on your side. Otherwise, it didn't happen and it is a figment of your imagination. Okay. Now, number two, I would definitely seek a private conversation, request a one-on-one with your manager to discuss your concerns. Approach the conversation with focus on finding the solution to this problem. Do not go in placing blame. Okay, I know that she is in a management role, so she should be able to handle confrontation, but that unfortunately is not what got her the job. So you know that she clearly, by her behavior, that she cannot handle confrontation just by her rude demeanor and because she has an anger problem. So when you go into the conversation, be mindful of the words that you say. Try to stay away from accusatory statements. So don't place blame. Let's try to find the solution to this problem. So instead, or you should say something like, I feel like our team could benefit from more skill development, maybe some balanced workload so that everyone is kind of pulling the weight for the team. How can we achieve this together? There you go. Because now what you have done is you show her that there's a problem because you're saying, I feel like our team could benefit from more skill development because we ain't doing a damn thing. Okay, we ain't learned nothing new. The workload is not balanced because sister girl over here twiddling her thumbs and you in here mad correcting mistakes instead of being vocal about your behavior. And sadly, in some situations, you do have to manage up to management because they don't know how to manage at all. If they did, then you all would be able to have a conversation and it would be led by the manager, not the junior team managing up to the senior team. Okay. Now, as far as this last step is proposing solutions, that's just like inside of number 2. So you already discussed what the problem was. And you even said, like, I think the way we can solve this problem is by developing more skills and balancing the workload. So you're coming to her with a solution. Now, if this does not go in the way that we're all hoping, which is a positive one, if it doesn't go that route, then I would definitely go ahead and seek HR and discuss with HR her behavior, her demeanor, the conversation, whether or not things have changed or improved since your conversation, and really just be vocal about the situation. Go ahead and have a conversation with them and let them know these are my concerns. Now, unfortunately, y'all have to keep this in mind. HR is not your protector, okay? They are simply there to mediate between you and the manager. But they are always going to be in the interest of the company. So if at any point this situation escalates and it becomes something totally different, you need to be prepared, okay? All right, Benny? Now, if you have any more questions, please DM me, and then also make sure that you send us an update because we want to know what the hell going on. All right. Now, our next email is coming from Betty, and I love this email already. So it says, I hope this email finds you well. First off, let me start by saying how much I love you. Girl, I love you too. And how you have saved me from so many situations. Period, queen. Thank you very much for that. My name is Betty, all right? And I am reaching out to you because I am starting my new position. Y'all better clap in y'all car right now for Betty because she got a new job. And guess what her new job is, y'all? She is a supervisor and she is so afraid. And she wants to know if we have any advice, any suggestions, any rules, anything that can help her in her first supervisory role. Well, baby, first of all, congratulations. Congratulations and welcome to management. And the fact that you care at all already puts you in a good position. Okay? The fact that you care and you want to make sure that you are doing your best. Now, does that mean that you're not going to have a slip up? No. But what it means is that you're going to be open to that and make sure that you're okay, that I'm going to make a mistake and that's all right because I'm not perfect. Okay? You are not the Lord, right? You're going to make a mistake and that's okay. But the way that you recover from that mistake is what is going to make a difference. So I just want to congratulate you on that. Number one, I definitely want you to, like you already have a growth mindset and kind of stay on the positive end of things. Even when situations look really bleak, sometimes you see it for what it is, but you don't need to stay in the negativity, okay? Come on out, baby. Now, the next step, I definitely would like for you to have a good relationship with your team. I'm not sure if you're going to be elevating in the company that you already work at, or if this is a totally new company with a totally new role. That part is not clear because the email was very short and sweet. Just make sure that you have a really good relationship with them. Build strong relationship. Make sure that you are firm but kind. You can do two things at once. You can chew gum and walk. All right? We can do it. You don't have to be an asshole to your team or super passive. You can be in the middle where you can offer empathy, sympathy, let them know that you care about them. But hey, this is a boundary and we do not cross it at the same time. So keep that energy up. The next thing is like a twofer. So I want you to make sure you are communicating effectively. All right. Make sure that your team understands the clear role and expectation that they have, and be clear on your role and what your expectations are as well. Make sure that everyone is on the same page. Now, when you are talking with your team, and if this is a new environment, I want you to kind of study them, talk to them, get some feedback, ask them what are some things that you would like to see change in this work environment. How has the work environment been? Gauge the arena that you're about to walk into. And the best way to do that is by studying your team and studying the qualities that the current managers have. So kind of review those things. And then lastly, I want you to lead by example. All right. Don't be somebody that says, do as I say, but not as I do. All right. If you going to be late, they are going to be late. All right. You going to be lazy, not doing no work. They going to be lazy and not doing no work. So make sure that you are always leading by example and always have integrity. And I think you will be just fine. I really and truly do. So congratulations to you on your new role in management. I love that for you. I really love the fact that you are coming from a place of wanting to lead in a positive way. And so you keep that mindset and you will be just fine. All right. So we are at the last email of the Ask Brandy segment, or Ask the Manager segment, which I haven't decided what it should be. Do y'all think it should be Ask Brandy the Manager, or do you think it should just be Ask the Manager? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Okay, so we got this email from Miss Betty. Her email says, I hope this email finds you well. First, I want to thank you for the content you share across platforms. I am a follower on several and find great value in your insights. Well, thank you, girl. I appreciate that. After watching one of your TikTok clips recently, I decided to take action and ask for a raise. I was ready to make my case based on the contributions over the past 2 years. I stepped into my current role after my immediate supervisor was terminated, and since then, the team I lead has doubled in size. We've consistently met all benchmarks and goals, and I have taken additional responsibilities, such as securing new office space for our growing team, handling the build-out and interior design of that project. I also had a steering committee of supervisors across regions. We played a key role in revamping the company's attendance policy. Here's my dilemma. I'm sitting at the gate in Detroit. Okay, what's up, girl? What up now? All right. After our annual leadership workshop, my team just received an award for having having the highest monitoring scores, across the company. And I personally received a Company Impact Award. That is awesome, for outstanding leadership, positive work ethic, and impactful initiatives towards the company's growth. While the recognition and $1,000 check, they were great, but I feel that a permanent raise would accurately reflect my contributions and responsibilities. We do raises every 6 months, but they are small, and I have been with the company for 8 years, but as a relatively new supervisor, I know I started on the lower end of the pay scale. I've proven my capabilities, and I feel like my pay should be better and reflect my current efforts in leadership. Here's my question. Should I go ahead and request a meeting to discuss a raise now, or should I wait until my next review in January? I don't want to seem ungrateful for the bonus, but I believe it is time for my salary to align with my contributions. Thank you so much for your guidance on this, Betty. Well, Betty, I actually think that you need to go ahead and ask for a raise. And one of the reasons why I think that, well, first, let me go back and just congratulate you on stepping into a role that was unknown to you, and you have done more than succeeded in this role. So this is almost a Cinderella story from someone who was not in the role, got thrust into the role, and now you are achieving and doing all the great things that you wanted to do. I definitely think, going back to my initial point, that you should go ahead and bring the raise forward, or your request for a raise forward. And the reason why is because all the things that you have accomplished and all the things that you have done, they're fresh in your team leader's mind. They're fresh in the company's mind. They know what you have done, and they gave you that check, and they're probably going to wait to give you a raise. You never really know, but I would go ahead and have that conversation. It lets them know that I'm a leader. I'm ready to have the uncomfortable conversation of requesting a raise. And you need to be confident, and you need to hold your head up high when you go in there and request this raise. Now, when you go in, you need to make sure that you have some good documentation. Now, the company knows what you have done, but let's remind them. All right, let's go ahead and start writing those things down that you have done, that you have kind of changed and shifted. You see that you led the steering committee. You have worked on finding a new office or a new location for your team. You have taken on more team members. You've also taken on additional responsibilities. So you have done all the things that is required of someone who deserves a raise. Now, I want you to prepare that information. Go ahead and start writing it down. Send and put everything on your paper of all the things that you have done, just like you have so wonderfully done in this email today. And then lastly, I want you to make sure that you are doing your market research. Look at your role, because I don't know exactly what industry you are in. And then I also don't know the industry that you're in or the actual title of the role. So it's more like a supervisory position, but what is the actual role title? And that's where you need to look that information up and see what the standard is as far as pay, what that salary standard is based off of the years of experience that you have, and the things that you have done so far. And so now that you are looking all this information up, you'll be able to come to them with more concrete requests. So you don't just want a raise and a promotion. You want a designated raise and a designated promotion that is designated directly for you. Because right now, if you don't go in with all this information, they're going to just give you what they deem is necessary for a raise. and you want to see what the market looks like, and make sure that you are being fair to yourself, because you've even said in the email that you feel like you were on the lower end of the pay scale. So now it's time for you to even the odds. Go ahead and even it out. You've done the work. You have been professional. You have been building your team and taking on leadership role. And I definitely think that you are eligible for this raise. I want to know an update. And I know the rest of the Bettys and Bennies, we all want to know what happens, because when you're requesting a raise, it can be a hard thing. You're nervous about it because you don't want to request too much, but then you don't want to lowball yourself. And so that's something that you're really going to have to sit with and look at your current salary and say, this is how much I make and this is what I want to see. And then compare it to that market value. Look it up. Do your research. They have PayScale has a search engine where you can research salaries. Glassdoor has one. Almost every job engine or career engine, they have those abilities to look up roles and to look up how much people are paying or being paid for those roles based off of where they live. So congratulations to you. I think you're going to get it, and I can't wait to hear. All right, now we have set a precedent today. And what is that? The longest episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. We are going on 40 minutes, okay? We're at 38 minutes and 50 seconds. And I'm going to close out with just saying thank you. As always, I'm very thankful and appreciative that you all spend 40 minutes now with me in the morning or at night or while you're doing laundry. I really, really appreciate it. You all downloading the podcast helps me so much. I really appreciate that as well. If you haven't, make sure you have downloaded. Make sure you're following so that you can get some updates. Like I said in the beginning, if you are not following me on social media, you are missing out. You're missing out. And we have us a good old time on them lives. We have a good time. Now, I want y'all to remember the things that we talked about. Your red flags and the green flags when you're going for the interviews versus when you're in the workspace. Make sure that you are paying attention and keep your head on the swivel, baby. Okay? Don't ever let your guard down. Now, y'all have a wonderful day, and make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and I will see y'all on the internet. All right, bye-bye.